Okay, let's jump right into this deep dive.
Yeah, let's do it.
We've got your Day 35 Part 2 word list here. And the idea today isn't just, reading definitions.
Right. We want to build some real intuition for these words, how they actually work.
Exactly. Especially in the kind of sentences you might see in academic stuff or, well, on exams.
Yeah.
Getting a feel for them in context.
That's the key. Using these examples, the ones you provided, including those true sentences, that's how you really learn, seeing them in action.
It's like learning naturally, seeing the patterns. Okay, let's get started. First up, we have words with the mis prefix.
Ah, yes, miss. Usually signals something's wrong or incorrect. Gone a bit sideways.
A perfect example is misleaded.
Right. The basic idea is guiding someone the wrong way or making them believe something that isn't true.
And the example sentence here is great for anyone dealing with data. Statistical data alone can be misleading.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
But how does data mislead? It's just numbers, isn't it?
Well, yeah, the data itself isn't lying exactly. But if you look at it alone...
Without the context.
Precisely. Without knowing how it was collected or what else is going on, you can easily draw the wrong conclusion. It leads your thinking down the wrong path. It misleads you.
Okay, I get it. It's about the interpretation being led astray. Makes sense. What about misfortune? This feels a bit simpler, like just bad luck.
It is, pretty much. Bad luck or an unlucky event happening. The example is quite dramatic. We had the misfortune to run into a violent storm.
Oof. Yeah, definitely misfortune. That specific event, the storm, was the bad luck.
And then there's the derivative, unfortunately.
Right. How does that fit in?
Well, it's the adverb form. You use it when something happens because of bad luck or when you regret something. Like the example, unfortunately, I won't be able to attend the meeting.
Ah, okay. So the core idea of something bad or unlucky is there, but the scale. I mean, a violent storm versus missing a meeting.
Hugely different scales.
It really shows how that mis prefix gives a sense of wrongness or badness, but the word it's attached to tells you what kind of badness.
Exactly. Context is everything.
Okay, next one with miss. Mischief. This one seems to have a couple of flavors based on the example.
It does. It can mean actual harm or trouble, serious stuff, but it can also be that lighter, playful, bad behavior, like kids getting into trouble.
Let's look at the first example. Nobody took notice of the mischief of the matter. What kind of mischief is that?
In that context, it points to the harm, the trouble, the potential negative consequences of the situation, something serious that was overlooked.
Okay, the damaging aspect.
Right. Now compare that to those children are always getting into mischief.
Ah, totally different feeling. That sounds like minor trouble, pranks, maybe being a bit naughty.
Exactly. Playful, maybe annoying, but not usually causing real harm. It highlights why seeing words in different sentences is so crucial for understanding the nuance.
Absolutely. Okay, let's shift gears. How about words with the under prefix? This often suggests something below or less than, maybe hidden.
Yeah, or weakening something subtly, like undermine. Its core meaning is to weaken something gradually, maybe sneakily, like eroding a foundation from underneath.
And we have a real sentence example here. But demanding too much of air travelers or providing too little security in return undermines public support for the process.
That's a great illustration.
So how does demanding too much or providing too little undermine support?
Think of public support like a building. If the authorities ask for way too much hassle or don't provide enough safety in return,
People lose faith.
exactly. It chips away at their trust, their confidence. It's not like support vanishes overnight, but it gets weaker, eroded from underneath. That's the under part. It weakens the foundation gradually.
I see that image now. Weakening from below. Got it. Okay, what about undertake?
Undertake is about committing to something and starting it, taking on a task or a responsibility.
The examples show the taking on aspect, like university professors both teach and undertake research.
Right. They commit to doing research. It's a major task they agree to do and begin as part of their job.
And the other one. They have undertaken a reappraisal of students' needs.
Same idea. The group has formally taken on the responsibility of doing this assessment. They've committed to the task.
Okay, clear enough. Let's switch prefixes again. How about over? This one often means above or beyond or maybe too much of something.
That covers it well. First word is overtake. This has a few related meanings.
Like passing someone in a race.
That's one meaning, yes. To catch up with and pass someone or something. The example, we mustn't let ourselves be overtaken by our competitors, fits that perfectly. Don't let them get ahead.
Makes sense. What else?
It can also mean to become greater or more important than something else. Like in Germany rapidly overtook Britain in industrial output.
So Germany's output surpassed Britain's, became bigger or more significant.
Exactly. It became greater in quantity or importance. And sometimes it means something often bad happening suddenly and affecting someone.
Okay, so surpassing in competition or quantity. Got it. The next overword is much more literal. Overpass.
Yes, very straightforward. An overpass is a bridge or structure that passes over another road or railway.
Like the example, she's standing on an overpass. Simple visual.
Can't get much clearer than that. Built to go over something.
Okay, moving on to the out prefix. This one can mean outside, or going beyond something, exceeding, or even starting.
First is outline. This has two common meanings.
Okay.
It can be a general description or plan, like you need a written outline of the story. That's the basic plan, the structure.
The skeleton before the detail.
Right. Or it can mean the line marking the shape of something. She drew the figures in outline.
Just the outer edges, no shading.
Exactly. The shape marked out. Seeing those two uses helps clarify it.
Definitely. Next, outbreak.
This usually refers to something unwelcome starting suddenly, often disease or violence.
Like the example, the area was struck by an outbreak of cholera.
Yeah, the disease suddenly appeared and started spreading. It broke out.
And the other example, his death set in motion a train of events that led to the outbreak of war.
Same idea. The sudden start, the commencement of the war, something unwelcome beginning abruptly.
Okay. How about outset?
Outset simply means the start or beginning. It's almost always in the phrase at the outset or from the outset.
Like, from the outset, he had put his trust in me.
Meaning right from the very beginning, trust was there from the start.
And decide at the outset what kind of learning program you want to follow.
Make the decision right at the beginning before you get deep into it. Stepping out at the start.
Okay, the starting point. Got it. Next, outweigh. This sounds like a comparison.
It absolutely is. It means to be more important, more significant, or more beneficial than something else, or literally heavier, but we usually use it figuratively.
Like in the advantages of science and technology far outweigh its disadvantages.
Exactly. The advantages are much more significant. They carry more weight than the disadvantages.
Putting them on a scale, the advantages side goes down.
That's the image. And the other example, the risks are vastly outweighed by the potential benefits. This is the same thing. Benefits are much more significant than the risks. One side is clearly greater in value or importance.
Okay, last, outward, outcome.
Simple enough. The result or consequence of something. What comes out of a situation.
We await the outcome of the election, the final result.
Right. And good housing improves health outcomes. Better housing leads to better health results. The consequence.
Okay, shifting themes slightly. Words related to line. First, deadline. Very relevant for students.
Oh, yes. A deadline is that time limit you have to get something done by.
The example sentence is painfully real. Assign responsibilities around the house and make sure homework deadlines are met.
You absolutely have to finish by that time. And the other example, she began to panic as the deadline approached, captures that feeling perfectly.
We've all been there.
Okay.
Headline.
A headline is the main title of a news article, the big text at the top designed to grab your attention.
The engagement of the two tennis stars made headline news, meaning it was a huge story.
Exactly. A top story. Important enough to be the main headline. The top line news.
Okay, let's look at words with the dom root. This often seems to relate to power, control, or maybe a realm or state.
That's right. First is dominate, to have a commanding influence or be the most important or noticeable thing.
Like his work increasingly dominates his life.
Meaning work takes up most of his time, attention, energy. It sort of controls his life.
Or in the 1960s, American styles dominated the art world.
Yeah, American styles were the most powerful, the most influential, the most prevalent then. They were dominant.
And dominant is the adjective form, right?
Exactly, meaning most important or influential. If something is dominant, it dominates.
Then there's predominant. How is that different from dominant? They sound so similar.
There's a subtle difference. Predominant means it's the strongest or main element present, often the most common or frequent thing in a particular context.
Like the example, yellow is the predominant color this spring in the fashion world.
Right. It means yellow is the most common, the most significant color you see this spring. It might not be controlling everything, but it's the main feature among others. Dominant implies more active control or power, while predominant is more about being the most prevalent element.
Ah, okay. Prevalent element versus exerting influence. That helps distinguish them.
It's a useful distinction. Last one with adom is domestic. This one has a couple of main meanings.
Okay.
It can relate to the home or family, or it can relate to one's own country as opposed to foreign.
The first example seems to be the country meaning. Output consists of both exports and sales on the domestic market.
Right. Domestic market means the market inside the home country.
Sales within the borders.
Exactly. Now, the second example, the real sentence. The kinds of interpersonal violence that women are exposed to tend to be in domestic situations.
Here, domestic clearly means within the home or family environment.
Precisely. The examples show those two key meanings, country versus home, both stemming from that root idea of a realm or home base. Context tells you which one.
Context is king. Okay, let's move to words related to reign or rule.
First, reign itself. As a noun, it's the period a monarch rules. As a verb, it's the act of ruling.
The example uses it metaphorically. To maintain its reign as the giant of the television industry is not easy.
Yeah, it's talking about the company's period of dominance or supremacy in the industry, like a king's rule.
Now, the next example sentence is really interesting. Some kids who are low in sympathy may make up for that shortfall by experiencing more guilt, which can rein in their nastier impulses.
Ah, yes. This shows how roots pop up in unexpected places.
Rein in. That's R-E-I-N, right? Not R-E-G-N.
Exactly. It's from reins, the straps used to control a horse.
Yeah.
The phrasal verb rein in means to control, to curb, to hold back.
So the guilt acts like pulling on the reins, stopping the bad impulses.
That's the perfect image. Guilt controls or reins in the impulses. It's a great example of needing to know common phrases, not just single words.
Definitely. Good catch. Next, sovereign.
As a noun, a sovereign is the supreme ruler, a king, queen, emperor. The example. The islands are ruled by a governor, representing the British sovereign. The sovereign is the monarch.
But it also relates to the idea of state power, right?
Yes, through the related noun sovereignty. Look at the true sentence example. Countries that maintain their sovereignty place ultimate power and authority within their own borders.
Ah, so sovereignty is the state of having that supreme power, the abstract concept.
Exactly. Sovereignty is the supreme power or authority a state has over itself. Sovereign can be the person who holds that power, or it can be used as an adjective meaning possessing that power. The examples nicely contrast the individual ruler, sovereign, with the abstract state power, sovereignty.
Individual versus concept. Got it. Okay, let's tackle the for prefix. Usually means before or front, right?
Almost always. First, forth. This means out, away, or forward.
Water gushed forth from a hole in the rock, came out and forward.
Right. And they set forth at dawn, started their journey, moving forward and away.
And the derivative forthcoming.
Means about to happen or available when needed. Like, we have just received the information about the forthcoming conference.
A conference that's coming up soon. Coming forth in time.
Makes sense. Now foresee, with for meaning before, and see.
To see beforehand. Predict.
You got it. To predict, to be aware of something before it happens. Look at the real sentence. Either Entergy never really intended to live by those commitments, or it simply didn't foresee what would happen next.
So two options.
Huh?
They lied, or they genuinely couldn't predict the future consequences. Couldn't foresee it. Analyzing that either-or structure is important for comprehension, too.
Absolutely. Understanding the words unlocks the logic. And we also have foresight, the ability to predict and foreseeable.
Meaning, able to be predicted, like they hold that the car will remain a leading means of urban travel in the foreseeable future.
The part of the future we can reasonably predict or see ahead to.
Okay, next, a simple one.
Forehead.
The front part of your head, above your eyes.
Yeah.
He had a scar on his forehead. Clear connection to fore, meaning front. And foremost. For plus most.
Suggests the very front, or the most important. It means highest in rank, most important, leading. This is one of the country's foremost arts centers.
One of the leading, most important ones.
And she's one of the foremost experts on child psychology. Top-ranked, leading expert.
There's also that phrase, first and foremost.
Right, used to emphasize the main point, putting it before everything else in importance.
Okay, last forward.
Forecast.
A prediction, or the act of predicting. For, again meaning before. This week, the company is expected to raise its revenue forecast.
Their prediction about future revenue.
And the real sentence uses it as forecasted doom.
But policymakers who refocus efforts could avoid the forecasted doom.
Meaning the predicted terrible outcome. The sentence suggests this prediction might be avoidable. And of course, we all know the weather forecast.
The most common prediction. Okay, moving to a thematic group labeled direction.
First is straightforward.
sounds like. Easy,
Mm-hmm.
simple. Exactly. Easy to understand, simple, not complicated. Like a straight path. It's quite straightforward to get here from your house. Easy, direct route.
Nice and simple. And headquarters.
The main office, the central base of operations. Head, implying the main part. Quarters, meaning a place or base. Several companies have their headquarters in the area. The central hub.
Okay, the central point of direction. Final group. Words with the port rote, meaning carry or bring.
First, import. Im, meaning in. Port, meaning carry.
So carrying goods in.
Exactly. Goods brought into a country. The value of annual imports rose rapidly. And the verb, the store's croissants are imported directly from France. They are carried in.
An export must be the opposite. Ex, meaning out.
Precisely. Sending goods out to another country. Most U.S. manufacturers both import and export. They carry things in and carry things out.
And their main export market is China, the main place they carry goods out to. Clear contrast.
Very clear. Next portion, a part of a whole. Port here relates to dividing or apart.
She could recite large portions of Shakespeare. Large parts or sections.
Yes. Now, how is that different from proportion?
Proportion also means a part, but maybe relative size.
Exactly. It's a part considered in relation to the whole or compared to another number. A good proportion of students prefer to stay on campus.
Meaning a significant percentage or fraction of the total students. Not just a part, but a comparatively sized part.
That's the key difference. Proportion is relative. Very important for interpreting data.
Crucial distinction. Okay, portable.
Port carry.
Yeah.
Able, capable of. Able to be carried easily.
The device is said to be the world's first portable transistor. Designed to be carried. Easy one.
Yep. And finally, portray.
To depict something, like in art.
Right. To depict or represent someone or something in art, writing, description. He was one of the first to portray animals from the New World. To represent them, maybe carrying their likeness forward onto paper or canvas.
And the related word portrait.
That's a specific type of portrayal, usually a painting or photo of a person, often head and shoulders. He had his portrait painted in uniform. A specific visual depiction.
Wow, that was quite a tour through Day 35, Part 2. We hit prefixes like miss, under, over, out, for, and roots like dummum, rain, port.
And the real value, I think, was seeing them used in different sentences, especially those real examples. You see the hints from the prefixes and roots.
But the actual context, the other words around it, really pins down the specific meaning.
That's exactly it. That's how you build that deeper understanding, that intuition you need for tougher texts or exams. You go beyond just the definition.
It connects the dots, doesn't it? Seeing how a word functions logically within a sentence helps with overall reading comprehension, figuring out the whole argument.
Absolutely. It lets you infer meaning even with unfamiliar words sometimes, just based on how the sentence is built around them.
So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. As you read, actively look for these patterns. Notice the prefixes, the roots, but then really zeroes in on the sentence itself. How are the surrounding words shaping the meaning?
Yeah, ask yourself, how is the context always guiding you to the precise meaning of that word right here, right now? That active questioning makes a huge difference.